Hello there, everybody. Back again with another update video. Let's go over the highlights of the day instead of the nitty gritties. I'm sure you probably might find the nitty gritties interesting, but honestly, they're so mundane and samey that I don't really feel like sharing them. Sorry. So let's see what is there to share. Okay, here's what I can remember. I had 2 eggs on toast. That was alright. I woke up at around 7 in the morning just to turn on the oven and then go back to sleep. And then wake up at around 8:30 to put cookies in the oven because I made some freshly made cookie dough 2 days ago and I wanted some freshly baked cookies for breakfast alongside my eggs on toast. Very good. After this, what happened? Well, I continued working on a motion comic I've been chipping away at for a while now, and I do have a rough cut, but I'm not completely satisfied with it until I put in some credits at the end and at the beginning, and also some additional sound effects to really add some depth to the soundscape. So that's going to take an additional bit. I may not even release it. It may just be for my own personal amusement. Although I may also continue working on some sequel to the motion comic, which basically is to take more material from the comic that I've based the motion comic off of and simply just continue to dub it and add more sound effects and music and things like that. Solely because I don't know, I guess I just find it entertaining and fun to do. In the morning when I made my eggs on toast and coffee, I did watch a program called Unsolved Mysteries, a very popular UFO case, I know, right? But where this Mexican cop was chasing down a speeding car back in the 1950s or 60s, I believe, and he saw what looked to be an egg-shaped craft land in the distance and he decided to investigate. And this craft was notable for having a strange symbol on it, kind of like a circle, like play button pointing up and a line drawn down, which was quite interesting. And he saw 2 figures which looked to be dressed in white suits, or not like, the kind of fancy suits, but just completely white onesie suits, just walking around. And he decided to get out of his car to walk over and see what was going on. And when he went to get closer, he noticed that the white suited characters were gone, whatever they were. And then the craft suddenly made a loud burning fire sound. It was actually had like a tripod-like setup, 3 different legs that looked kind of like scaffolding on the floor that were keeping it, on the ground. But then as soon as the fire sound, which sounded like a started on the floor, then the legs kind of retracted and the fire kept the craft up into the air. And then it kind of just slowly went up and then drifted off into the distance. So the guy basically called his higher up, the chief of the police, to come over to talk out what the heck just happened with him. And this cop is known for being a very honest guy. He's never taken any drugs on his job. He's always stuck to being sober and respectable when working back in those days. And he was known to be very honest and never chasing clout or attention by his fellow peers. So the fact that he saw this whole event transpire makes it even more believable. Apparently, this is one of those popular UFO cases that was put into Project Blue Book that has yet to have any kind of an explanation or be pinned down to what exactly could have happened. There have been plenty of attempts at debunking the story, saying it was some college students in some, test flying vehicle, but I don't know what college students have equipment that advanced that it's able to propel itself in the air with little more than just a bit of a fire shooting down at the bottom and then just drifting off after the fire's done shooting. Very strange. And apparently it left a lot of radiation around the area, which is also very bizarre. Well, anyways, I think that does it for the UFO corner. Let's move on to any other interesting stories that happened today. trying to think if there was anything I could really say that would warrant being interesting to discuss. Yeah. Well, when I arrived at work, I pushed carts for the first 2 hours of the day, which I enjoyed very much so. But there was an interesting encounter with what could only be described as two older gentlemen, I guess you could say. One in his late 50s, early 60s, and the other one who looked to be in his mid 60s. And apparently these two go to the gym together. And they got caught up in a conversation. How this started was I was pushing carts, and this guy, he knows me because he knows I've been working at this store for a while. And he asked me how I was doing. I said, "Ooh, I'm having a great day. I mean, who isn't?" And he says, "Well, I owe a lot of money on my house. I just got a sign posted and now I'm in trouble. So I'm not having a good day at all." I'm like, "Oh, that's a shame. I'm sorry about that." And then afterwards, the older gentleman came by, and then they knew each other apparently. So they greeted each other and we're talking about poor etiquette with some people who use the, what do you call those places in gyms where you take showers or baths? Locker, I think. Yeah. Apparently there's poor locker etiquette in the gym with these two guys. Well, not them, but someone else in the locker who apparently, well, I'm not going to get into details. All I'm going to say is that apparently there's a guy in the locker area who is completely exposed, I guess you could say, and he uses the hair blow dryer to dry everything. We'll just put it like that. And they were basically discussing how annoyed and sickened they were at this whole sight. Yeah, it was kind of a bizarre encounter. And the one thing that broke it was that apparently there was a car that wanted to park in a handicap area, but then there was another car that wanted the same handicap spot. And dangerously, as this red truck was going to back into the handicap area, this white car swerved right in front of him before he could, and then parked right in front of him. So he did a very risky move that could have ended with injury or with some kind of lawsuit. The guy in that white car was taking a big chance, and yeah, people could have gotten injured. I mean, just him driving really fast. It was not cool. I did not like that at all. But yeah, that's what stopped the conversation, and I continued about my day. And it was pretty good. I was giving away some free samples for a product we're currently selling thanks to St. Patrick's Day called Irish Soda Bread. It's basically like a sweet bread, but has like a sort of unique taste and texture to it. Lovely with butter, by the way. Definitely warm it up and spread some butter on that sucker, and you'll have a great time if you're into sweetbread, of course. Then, of course, one more hour of lot. Not much to really report on here. I eventually was finished with lot, and then it was my hour-long lunch break. So I decided to go to a nearby Carl's Jr. Now the thing is, why Carl's Jr. exactly? Well, before a while back, I ate some Carl's Jr. and it was just one of their singular cheaper burgers. And I have to say it wasn't my favorite. In fact, it actually gave me an explosive problem in my pants, I guess you could say. But then I decided maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that was just a one-off thing, and perhaps this time they got like a better chef or something. I don't know. But maybe it was just the burger I ordered. Maybe because it was a cheaper one, it wasn't up to a quality or standard. So I decided to get the guacamole cheeseburger with bacon. And yeah, that was delivered to me with medium meal with fries and a Diet Dr. Pepper. I ate in the building, and my review is, sorry, thumbs down. It was $20. And when I'm spending $20 on something, it better be good. I better feel like I got every cent's worth, because I could use that $20, go to the nearest grocery store, and probably get the same ingredients, but for a lot less, to make a burger, and I could probably make a really killer burger at home. And I know they have to pay for the staff, they have to pay for upkeeping the building, they have to pay the taxes, and they have to pay for the minimum wage increasing to $20 an hour. So I understand all of that. But if you're getting paid a little more than your average employee, then can you please put a little more heart into your food? I'm sorry, but I understand you may be struggling and maybe you don't want to put heart into your food, but I mean, someone's going out of their way to drive over to your restaurant and give you $20 of their hard earned cash to have a nice meal. And if the meal isn't nice, it's a huge bummer and you feel like you didn't get your money's worth. But of course, I didn't say any of this to the people working there because I didn't want to be rude or be a male Karen or anything, but I just didn't like it at all. I thought the guacamole was too mushy and wet. I thought the cheese was also just too wet. And I mean, the fries were fine. I thought the fries were fine. And the soda was good. It was just mainly the burger that was a big disappointment. Maybe I just got a bad burger. I could give the benefit of the doubt and say it was a bad burger, but honestly, yeah, I felt really ripped off, and I don't know, maybe I'm never going to eat there again. It was that much of a disappointment. I don't know. Let me know if I'm being too hard, but that's my honest take on it. And then I got a milkshake, chocolate milkshake, because I wanted something to wash the taste of that burger out of my mouth, if I'm being honest. And it was a fine milkshake. I mean, it tasted very corn syrupy, if you can understand what that means. But yeah, it was fine. Then after that, I drove back to work, and the last 4 hours was quite all right. I mean, once again, I had a closing shift because it was the same shift as yesterday. I felt like I was able to handle it a bit better because I was able to get everything I was able to get done on the list, and I did trash as soon as I possibly could and was given the chance to, because trash takes the longest time to do because it's grouped in with restocking the bags in the cubbies. So luckily I was able to do both of those things, and I would say I accomplished everything with a satisfactory job, or as good as I possibly could, given the time constraints and wanting to get out on time. So I did. I had a friend at work who mentioned he watched one of my videos and he gave it a like and a comment, which was pretty cool. It does feel fun to kind of hear reactions about what you're discussing or talking about from your day's worth of experience. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it feels like you're actually kind of contributing something. I like to think that I'm contributing some kind of record of things that happened to a human being during the early 2020s for future historians to look back on and see what were humans like back in those days, you know. That's how I see it. But I don't know. How do you see it? Do you think that that's what I'm doing, or do you think that this is all very silly? I like to think I'm doing field research for a cartoon that I'll eventually work on as soon as I'm able to have the time and energy to do it. Well, anyways, say goodbye to everyone, including a very goofy goodbye to one of my managers where I gave him a fist bump, and then I gave a truck driver who was talking with him a fist bump, and then I pretended like I was blown away and like falling back like, whoa, like that. That was a lot of fun. I liked that. And after that, I got in my car. I put up a News Nation reality check where a guy called Ross Coldheart, I believe is his name, interviewing this lady who is involved with this series on YouTube called The Telepathy Tapes, where nonverbal savant autistic children are apparently able to communicate via a form of telepathy, not only with their mothers, but with other nonverbal autistic children who also apparently have this gift of communication, which is very fascinating because it really breaks things down in terms of how we've always viewed these kids, which is that they're never going to grow past the state of being a toddler. They're going to have to be taken care of by their parents their entire life and not ever going to be self-sufficient, and they're always going to have a caretaker no matter what. And while many of that's true, a lot of it is because the way their body was constructed and works means they experience the world completely differently than neurotypical people do, or people who are higher on the autistic spectrum. and so they're more attuned to a different way of experiencing life, which is very fascinating. So yeah, after that I got home and there was some free dinner waiting for me. It was carne asada with rice and beans and a chicken burrito, I think. I ate all of it along with a can of soda. This was sugary soda, by the way. And yeah, after that, I massaged my mom. I wrote checks for our living expenses. And then I decided to record this video. Now, what will I be doing tomorrow? Well, I have to work, or no, sorry, I get to work from 10 to 7 tomorrow. So that means I'm going to have a very short morning, but I want to wake up at least around like 6:30 to 7, so I'll have enough time to get ready, take a shower, make and eat breakfast, and maybe even get a little work in on my motion comic that I've been chipping away at. So that's pretty much the report. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.